Okay, so the Euro 2024 final, it kicks off tomorrow at 8 p.m. UK time, 9 p.m. German time, Spain England. So let's have a little preview. Spain have, I wouldn't say breezed through to the final, but they have been the most impressive team at this tournament. They have gone in with attacking intent. They're a very young side, and they're a very pragmatic side as well. You look how Spain are playing this time round. Tiki taka, that's gone. That's gone. They've got a very balanced squad in regards where they've selected players from. They're not overly reliant on Barcelona and Real Madrid. We've got players from a lot of Spanish clubs, should I say, in this squad, and a lot of other clubs across Europe who all play different styles. And the management team of Spain have brought together a very pragmatic approach. They also like running with the ball. They like having ball runners, which is Spain teams of the past didn't have a player willing to get the ball at his feet and go on a long mazy run. It just didn't happen. It was all tiki-taka, nice passing moves and possession based. Spain are also quite happy without the ball as well. They are quite happy without the ball. They are happy to defend. They've got a very mobile defence as well, a very young mobile defence with a bit of skill. So they've got a very balanced side, and of course they've scored a lot of goals. They've scored a lot of goals. Now, the one area where I have concerns with Spain is their game management. The second half against France, they were struggling to manage the pace of the game, manage the conditions, and contain the French attack. Now, France didn't score in that second half, but they were on the back foot and they were doing a lot of defending and they were getting exposed in certain areas of the field. Now, Carvajal is back in the side. He was suspended. Hivas Navas, crikey, he should be on a Zimmer frame. Bless him. He tried his best and he hasn't played a lot of football. He's in his late 30s. They did expose that channel. Now, Carvajal coming back in balances that out a little bit. But I think game management could be Spain's weakness. And how much energy did they expend in the semi-final against France? Be interesting. They have had that extra day of rest, however. England have bumbled their way into the final, I think is a fair way to describe it. They've made it very nervy for England fans. I haven't watched the last two games, and we've won them both, so let that sink in. England have also been behind in their last two games and come from behind to win. So that is interesting that England have actually got a very good record from coming from behind. They're less competent when leading. If England get a lead, I'm concerned. If England get a lead early, again, England's game management is again a massive weakness. Scoring goals is not actually a problem for England. They've spread the scoring around quite evenly. They haven't set the world on fire with goal scoring, but they've set the goal scoring around quite evenly. They're not relying on one single player to get the majority, which is good. I will say this though. England have come from behind in the round of 16, the quarter-final and the semi-final. So it will be interesting to see who scores first. Game management, I think, is a massive concern for both teams. That I think is a massive weakness, and especially the pace of the game. As I say, Spain were starting to look a little bit leggy. Also, when I say game management, when substitutions are used. Gareth Southgate, that is a weakness of Southgate, is tactical changes and bringing the substitutions at the right time. He has left his substitutions very, very late in all the knockout games. I'm also surprised that in the last group game against Slovenia, Southgate didn't experiment by giving other players in the squad a run out. So he's not used a lot of players in this tournament. Could that come home to be a problem and home to roost, where fatigue factor? But in saying that, the goals scored by both England and Spain, some of them have been absolute worldies. I'm not going to lie, some of them have been absolutely fantastic. Both teams like to spread the goal scoring around, so it isn't just one or two players getting the majority of the goals, and if you shut them down, they're ineffective. So there's goal scoring depth on both sides. But I think game management, managing the conditions and the pace of the game, I think is going to be key. Spain are still favourites. Just with the way they played consistently throughout the tournament, they haven't had a bad game. England have at times been very, very lethargic, have struggled a little bit and haven't really hit a good rhythm, although they're starting to build up that rhythm a little bit. But both these teams were heavily favoured going into the tournament with the bookmakers. The odds for them making the final were quite high. They've done that. I think England have the slight experience edge in regards to international football making the latter stages of a tournament, because they've made a final at the last Euros, and of course they've made multiple semi-finals and a quarter-final now under Gareth Southgate. I think Spain, from where they were a decade or so ago, being the dominant force with a certain style of play, they're not playing tiki-taka. I think both sides will go for this. There's a lot of players who can run with the ball, do damaging runs. Off-ball movement's going to be key. And both defences are highly mobile. So this could be a very, very interesting contest. It really could. I still think Spain are favourites, although it's a one-off game. Weather conditions could have an impact. There has been a lot of rain and thunderstorms in Germany. Some of the pitches have been exceptionally heavy, cutting up. So we'll see if weather conditions have a part to play. I think if it does actually rain and chuck it down, I think England potentially have better fitness than Spain. As I say, the semi-final against France for Spain, the second half, they were out on their feet with about 35 minutes left to go. They were looking absolutely shattered and exhausted. And that could be an issue, but they've had that extra day's preparation. Spain are favourites. I'm going for a close game. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. Every time my work colleagues say England are going to get smashed, absolutely hammered, they don't. They seem to pull a hat out of the bag, but also how they dealt with things emotionally. There's been a lot of negativity on social media at times and in the media, a lot of pressure in the media, but they've made a second final in a row. So while Gareth Southgate's style of play and tactical changes sometimes frustrate fans and leave a lot of questions, he's managed to get them to two finals in back-to-back Euros, and judged on results. Is this the time England finally get over the line for the first time since 1966 in men's football? Spain, they're going through a rebuild of their own, and both teams very young, very exciting, a lot of young talent, a lot of exuberant young talent. Will the flair players and the skill players just be allowed to play? Will they just be pure attacking intent? Could we see a high-scoring final like we did with the World Cup? Could we see a very high-scoring final? Potentially. So there we go. There's a little preview. Thank you very much for watching. Spain, I would say, are favourites, but not as much as people think when it comes to being favourites. I'll be interested to see the betting odds on this as well. But from me for now, thank you very much for watching. Place your thoughts on what you think the final result is going to be in the comment section below. But from me for now, it is goodbye. I'll have some more content for you guys very, very soon.